Welcome to today's Explainer. We're cutting straight through the noise of daily updates to map out the massive strategic shifts that are completely reshaping the artificial intelligence battlefield right now. Look, the landscape of AI is moving so incredibly fast that it's super easy to get lost in the day-to-day headlines. But today, we're pulling back the curtain to look at the actual high-level strategies the major players are deploying. And we are starting with an absolute bang. Artificial superintelligence in 1 to 2 years. That thrilling and, let's be honest, kind of terrifying prediction comes straight from the CEO of Anthropic. It completely sets the stakes for our deep dive today. We're looking at how giants like Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI are frantically rewriting their playbooks to prepare for a world where AI doesn't just assist us, but potentially outpaces us entirely. To make sense of this, we're going to systematically break the market down into 5 key battlegrounds: the open source disruption, the model quality war, Google's ecosystem strategy, the shift toward agentic AI, and finally, AI rules and liabilities.
All right, let's jump into number 1, the open source disruption. KMI is literally changing the rules of the game here. Okay, so KMI recently dropped a massive 2.7 trillion parameter open source model. And wow, it's not just huge, it performs right on par with top-tier Western alternatives like GPT 5.5 and Opus 4.8. Plus, it's rocking a massive 256K token context size. This essentially means the sheer raw power that was once locked tightly behind corporate walls, it's out in the open now. But here is the real kicker. The real strategic threat to the big players isn't even just the capability. It's the cost. We're talking 10 to 20 times cheaper to run than its closed-source rivals. That forces the big tech giants into a seriously tight corner. I mean, why would you pay a massive premium when you can get comparable performance for a fraction of the cost, right? Which brings us to number 2, the model quality war, or what some are calling the pursuit of the God model. To fight back against that open source pressure, companies like Anthropic have leaned hard into a brute force strategy of pure performance dominance. Just look at Anthropic's Fable 5 model. In recent cybersecurity benchmarks, earlier models like Opus 4.8 were sitting around a 40% success rate. Even the really impressive Myth preview only hit 69%. But Fable 5, it leaped to a staggering 78% success rate. It literally blew past all the previous models. Let's take this out of the benchmark labs for a second, though. In the real world, Fable 5 is unbelievably good at agentic coding. During a live AI course experiment, it actually built a complete customer relationship management system end-to-end in a single go. It asked a few clarifying questions, and then boom, just built the whole shebang from one initial prompt. That is a jaw-dropping level of capability. But there's a catch. This best model strategy has some pretty massive flaws. Sure, you get incredible performance, but the cost is astronomical. Fable 5 costs double the standard Claude subscription because it just burns through tokens. And interestingly enough, its advanced capabilities triggered so much scrutiny that it actually faced suspensions due to US government restrictions. So pushing the bleeding edge definitely comes with some intense operational and regulatory headaches. Meanwhile, over at OpenAI, things are looking a bit different. Facing an upcoming IPO and struggling to outpace Anthropic's relentless updates, they've been forced into a defensive posture. They are slashing prices to compete with that open source pressure, offering immediate limit resets in codecs to keep developers hooked during urgent tasks, and they even acquired the cloud startup Ona just to shore up their underlying infrastructure. Moving on to number 3, Google's ecosystem strategy, a huge pivot toward hardware and access. While Anthropic and OpenAI are fiercely battling over who has the absolute smartest coding model, Google is playing a totally different game. They're stepping back from the pure coding wars to build highly practical, everyday tools. Think Gemini 3.5 Live Translate, handling real-time speech across 70 languages, even in noisy environments. They're laser-focused on local compute, meaning models that run right on your phone or laptop. And crucially, they are severely undercutting the competition by dropping their AI plan to just $4.90 a month with double the storage. They're absolutely going for mass ecosystem adoption over sheer intelligence. Technically speaking, Google's new Gemma models are doing something super innovative. They are using what's called a text diffusion model approach. So instead of the traditional method of guessing the next word one by one, this process renders a large chunk of context, like 256 tokens, all at once. It's actually a lot like how AI image generation works, and on strong hardware, it achieves lightning speeds of up to 1,000 tokens per second.
But here's the thing, speed and scale requires serious power. And this highlights a massive industry shift toward owning the compute layer. Google is partnering with TSMC and Samsung to manufacture their own custom TPUs. And we're seeing this everywhere. Zoho just partnered with Intel to build custom internal servers that cut power consumption by 18% and ownership costs by up to 30%. Bottom line, if you want to win the AI race, you absolutely have to own the infrastructure.
All right, number 4, the agentic AI shift. We are officially moving from simple generation to true autonomy. All that massive investment in hardware, it's happening for a reason. We're no longer just talking about chatbots. We're moving toward models that act entirely autonomously in the background. A perfect example is Anthropic's internal testing of an always-on agent called Convoy. Imagine having an AI that doesn't need a prompt every single time you want it to do something. It just stays active, monitors your needs, and seamlessly executes tasks in the background. But as exciting as that sounds, autonomous AI comes with some pretty unexpected bottlenecks. There was a recent warning from AWS that really hit the nail on the head. They pointed out that just because an AI can generate code at lightning speed, that does not mean overall developer productivity actually goes up. Sometimes it can actually grind a project to an absolute halt. Why? Because humans simply cannot keep up with the machine output. In one real-world test, an AI used 50 simultaneous agents to generate a massive, complex bug fix in just 2 to 3 hours, which sounds great, right? But the code was so vast that it took the human development team 2 full days just to review it and make sure it was safe to deploy. The AI is incredibly fast, but human verification has literally become the new bottleneck. And finally, number 5, AI rules and liabilities. This is the final roadblock to superintelligence. As these models get hyper-capable and start operating autonomously, the industry is slamming into a wall of systemic rules and legal liabilities. Ecosystem gatekeepers are cracking down hard. For instance, Microsoft has started banning open-source malware repositories on GitHub that these smart models were utilizing. And Apple, they are aggressively purging low-quality AI-generated apps from the App Store. You know, those copy-paste apps with 0 real users. The platforms are actively fighting back against AI spam. But honestly, the most consequential shift right now is legal. A German court recently ruled that Google is fully liable if a user takes action based on a hallucination or error in their AI overviews. The court essentially said, hey, you displayed the answer directly, so you are legally responsible for it. That fundamentally challenges how search engines can even use AI moving forward. And this whole liability issue brings us right back full circle to that 1 to 2 year timeline for artificial superintelligence. It begs a really massive question. If courts are holding companies liable for simple AI search errors today, who exactly takes the blame when an autonomous superintelligence takes the wheel tomorrow and makes a critical mistake? That is the real strategic playbook driving the AI industry right now. Between the relentless pressure of open source models, the massive hardware wars, and these looming legal battles, the landscape is shifting faster than we've ever seen. Thanks for hanging out with us for this explainer. Keep questioning where these massive shifts are taking us, and more importantly, what is your next strategic move going to be?